Marion is thinking about internet features for a client. She arranges a brainstorm with Steve, the project manager, Olivia from marketing, and Mike, their IT guy. Steve sets up the brainstorm application. The system automatically detects the participants. Steve chooses a pretty slow custom pace. ID generating will take 50 minutes. As they are generating IDs at a solid pace, a bulb on the screen starts burning brighter. When they slow down, the bulb dims. Everyone is generating lots of IDs, but Mike is stuck. As Steve is inputting an ID, it appears on the screen. Mike sees this ID, and it triggers new IDs for him. The bulb glows brighter yet again. The board detects the dip in ID rate and decides to give them a creative cue. This helps the group to get started again. Steve and Olivia start moving the first post-its together. The board detects a cluster and gives it shading. Steve sees this and moves an ID from a big cluster to the new cluster. The big cluster loses some shading. They can decide where courses should go and decide to put it in 2 clusters. They also decide they want a closer look at the big cluster, so they zoom in on this. Steve decides to split the big cluster up into 2 separate clusters. The board automatically adjusts the border, and Steve makes the cluster small again. Meanwhile, the bottom left cluster has become so salient, the board suggests to label it. Olivia goes ahead and does this. They go into the relationship view of this cluster to perform a final check. In the relation view, they decide to add one more ID to this cluster. This ID also appears in the normal cluster view. After the clustering phase, they have 4 clusters left. They all have to pick their 3 favorites to pick the 3 concepts they will develop further. Olivia has the decisive vote between dynamic content and static content. Steve, being slightly dominant, moves in and urges her to vote on dynamic content. Olivia is convinced by Steve and votes on dynamic content.